Hey guys, I'm Mark,
I'm Alen.
and welcome to another episode of The Next Man Up. Well, buddy, it's nice to see your face again. It's always a good day when I get to spend some time with you face to face and in your company.
Likewise, bro. Likewise. So good to see you.
Yeah, it's been. We were talking before we turned on the microphones that it's been a while since we've actually been able to get our schedules to align and do this in person.
Yeah,
so
man.
I'm excited.
Technology is awesome, but it's always good to be face to face.
You know, I agree. I agree. I have always said in my past, I've always said that nothing replaces the face to face.
Agreed.
And usually that was in the context of some professional relationship or something I was trying to get done. You know, the water cooler type of conversation, right? Nothing replaces that face to face. And I'm experiencing that again in this context.
Yeah,
you know, it's just not quite as fun for me, and I don't know that the chemistry is always quite there at the same level. So
there's a lot of things that you miss, like just facial expressions to just being in the same room and whatnot. I feel like I'm talking about a date or something. But it's the human relationship, right?
Yeah.
Like that you need that. Those things go amiss. Even with phone calls to even FaceTiming or something, it's different.
Yeah.
It's different.
Yeah.
So
like you said, technology is good. Thankful for the ability to connect in that way, but nothing replaces the good old face-to-face.
No, sir.
Yeah, and speaking of face to face, we missed you the last conversation I had with Kenston. Just kind of plugging that episode here. It was really
it was
good.
Really sad, Kenston. If you're listening to this, man, I am so sorry I wasn't there. Got sick, man.
I know.
Like out of nowhere, that stinks.
It happens. It happens.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
It was a good chat. Kenston's a good brother,
cool.
And he's got some big ideas and some big dreams on his heart. And, the book is just one example, but
Parenting Like a Boss.
Yeah.
I love that
It's a great title, right? It's a great title. And, this is another example of finding somebody that's in the same war, but just on a different front.
Yes.
And the opportunity for us to intersect for a period of time was, it was good.
Cool, man. Cool. Well, I'm here now, man. I'm here now.
Yeah. So what do you bring? What's on your heart and what's on your mind today?
Bro, it goes to something that, honestly, I have a hard time dealing with. Beards.
Beards.
Yeah, beards and mustaches. Dude, I cannot grow one, man.
Oh, so that's okay.
Yeah, I can't.
Do I hear a little jealousy here?
Well, yes, you do. Yes, you do. I always pass someone by whenever I see an extraordinary beard. I just I have to tell the person your beard game is really strong. And then I have to we start talking. I try to slip away, but then I have to inevitably answer the question. So how come you don't have a beard? Well, it's because I simply don't grow one well.
Yep.
I shave maybe once a month.
I haven't reached manhood yet, so therefore I don't have a beard.
I take offense to that. Just because I don't have a beard does not make me less of a man. But no, it really doesn't, people. I don't believe it does.
No,
but it's just something cool.
Yeah,
Even in high school, people started growing them. Oh, I can't wait. And I just wait for the day. And it just never came.
Yep.
Not in high school, at least.
Yep.
And it grows in patches. And it's just weird. But anyway, Gillette.
Oh, this is where you're going.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'm tracking.
The ad, have you seen it?
I have.
Yeah, that new ad where it's they are, I don't know, normally, Gillette is this, razor company that, this is when you watch it, you think of, okay, as far as culture goes, this is what a man
That's right.
is supposed to be like. You wake up in the morning with I don't know, just a bear's back, like just got shaved and slapped on your head.
Yep.
And the shaving cream comes on and you start shaving. I dream about this stuff sometimes because I want a beard. But, it's like, this man's man. But then this ad came out where Gillette is basically taking a stand. And they're saying, like, the way that men behave or have behaved or are behaving when it comes to, like, just the negative things that have been coming out, like, they're like, no more. We got to change. So they made this ad that basically is this call, like, to men to, like, stop doing the dumb stuff that we've been trained to do and start being better. And, the ending is like this really poignant, like, just like it's the arrow. It's that last arrow that comes out of the green arrow's like hand and hits you square in the heart. And it's like, pointing to the fact of like, we have to be better so that tomorrow's men will be better.
Yeah.
And it has this picture of this, like, little boy, and it's like, as a father, I'm going, yes, my son's son, and his son's son, like, we have to be better, or else they're going to be stupid.
Yeah, it's our message too, right?
Yeah,
like in a nutshell.
Yeah, totally our message in a nutshell. And so, like at first glance, I don't know, at first glance, like I had a thought, and then like the more and more I dissected, the more thoughts I had. So I want to throw it out and just see what you thought, and maybe we can jump back and forth.
Well, it certainly generated quite a buzz, both for and against, which is interesting. In some ways, although I'm not necessarily a huge Glenn Beck fan or follower, I am aware, and his latest book is called Addicted to Outrage. So here's just another opportunity for people to be outraged, right?
Yes.
So part of that is like, okay, whatever. But who knew that this razor blade company would become an ally in the message that we're trying to send, which is we've got to be better.
Yeah.
And we've talked about this before. We, you and me and our community of men, we have to be part of the solution.
Yes, absolutely.
Instead of being part of the problem for so long. Regardless of how you define the problem, we might define it a little bit different than culture, but we have to be part of the solution. So part of me is like, kudos, Gillette, right? Step up. At the same time, I am highly skeptical that this is really anything more than just a publicity stunt.
Yeah.
To get some attention and to get some marketing and or maybe they're reacting to some protests that I didn't know about or some pushback, and so they're like, okay, well, we'll hop on the Me Too bandwagon and we'll support this. And this is me being skeptical.
Sure.
Like, what's interesting is I have used Gillette as an example when I talk about our cultural definition of manhood.
Yes.
Because the message that they're advertising, their branding, their positioning has sent for years and years is, you shave with our blades, and boy, you are the man.
Yeah.
And not only are you the man, you've got the supermodel on your arm to prove it. While you're shaving, right? She's pawing at you because you're so attractive with the shaving cream and a Gillette. How many ads have we seen like that? And now they're just like that. They're going to pivot.
Yep.
So that's me being like, okay, come on. I want to see if this has got some staying power.
Agreed, man. Agreed. Like, like the same thing. I wrote down some notes because I was like, what were my thoughts initially? And the first off, I was like, bravo that Gillette is doing this. Like, bravo for this ad. It's like I said before, it's naming, it's men taking a stance, naming the elephant in the room that everybody's been staring at for generations. The abuse of power, the negative connotations towards women, the raising of the next generation in a wrong way, like the excuses that we give for the way that we men act and live and treat others like they're just like throwing it right out there for the world to see. And that's beautiful because it leads to a couple of things. I believe it leads to like a call to be better now as men, a call to be better now as men, but also to raise the next generation up like better. And I like because it wasn't just like this picture of just like white men. You saw black men. You saw, you know what I mean? Like it was like everyone. No, us men collectively, we have to do better. But then, you know, me, I'm like, okay, let's look down the line. So question pops up. So what is next when it comes for ads for people like Gillette or anybody else who all of a sudden pivots? Like, what's next? What's your next ad going to look like? You know, because you can't go back now.
Right.
Like, there's no going back. There's no more of this, like, you know, burly Caucasian man with a,
ripped chest.
Just like
six pack,
slicing his face up, or running through the forest with an eagle on his arm, like, you know what I'm saying? And nothing but his white Speedos heading for the bathroom or the lake, I should say, the river to shave with the Gillette razor. There's no more stuff like that.
Right.
You can't, because if you do,
you're being called out.
You're gonna get called out. Maybe they're not afraid to get called out. Maybe it's like, dude, we're just trying to make another buck. Or maybe it's like a gradual turn back. Or maybe they step it up and they go, from this ad on, this is the set marker. Whichever it is, I hope they choose right. But as for the impact of the ad, I hope what happens is that we men look at this ad, and I hope other companies follow suit and put out more ads like this, like where we go, we have to change. You know what I'm saying? Like our TV, our media, and everything that normally teaches us. I'm sorry to say, but it does teach people. Whether we catch subliminal messages a lot, and I hope that what happens is, like, we start going as a culture of men, like, maybe they're onto something. And like that turns into, I think they're right. Like, I think I better do some investigation. And as we investigate, we realize, man, we have to step up. Like, this is not just an ad anymore. This is reality. They're just telling us the truth that a lot of like different outlets and probably even our own hearts have been screaming for so long. We got to do better. Yeah. You know, and I hope that's the case. But man, Gillette, if not, boy, right, you jacked up.
Right. Yeah, they've drawn a line now.
Yeah.
And effectively have placed themselves inside of trying to be a solution, not just a company that sells razors.
Yeah. And dude, like, if I noticed that too, like I'm noticing just people, companies, artists, whatever. It's like, dude, I watched your movie and you sure were the opposite of what you're standing for in this very second. Like, I hope, like, you know, you're not just trying to jump on a bandwagon. Like, I hope not. Or I hope you're not just like, you know, taking this road because everybody's on it, or it's going to make you more money, or you got busted with a law like action suit or something. Right. And then like, you know, next year you'd be back to your old tricks. I hope that you're doing this for the best thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, if nothing else, it's creating conversation. It's creating additional conversation. Yeah. And yes, we're using the name Gillette, and
don't sue us.
Well, and we're not getting any sponsorship from Gillette, right?
No.
So these aren't just shameless plugs.
No.
But we're having more conversation about this issue of masculinity and whether it's the toxic masculinity or the traditional masculinity. Like, I think we finally culturally, maybe that's not the right way to say it. Maybe it's not finally, but we have a moment here where, like we said when we started, this episode, we can be part of the solution.
Yeah.
And if it takes Gillette and it takes others to help contribute to that solution, great. But ultimately, we as men, we have to rise up and we have to be part of the solution. And I think one of the other interesting aspects to this is the pushback, the protest, the frustration that's being expressed by people regarding this ad. I think there's a bunch of people that are afraid for men to lean into emotions, for men to walk away from or grow out of the quote unquote traditional masculinity. And I think the definition of traditional masculinity right now is what we've had for the last, hundreds of years, maybe even thousands of years, where it's male dominated, male aggressive, sexist, hypersexualized, certainly in our culture today, a lot through media and advertisements and whatnot. But I think there are people that are looking at a biblical type of view of masculinity or men, or maybe more of a religious perspective of men, and they're afraid. And so they see Gillette come out and they soften the position of manhood and masculinity, and they get scared.
Yeah.
Or they see other voices contributing to this, saying we have to be better, and they get scared because they think we're going to feminize men, or we're going to make men less strong. They're going to become more weak, right? Like, I see you nodding your head. You know where I'm going here. Yeah. It's interesting to me that we have this moment to be better, to do better, to rise above some of this stuff that we've accumulated as traditional gender norms that's okay behavior when it's really not okay behavior. Mm-hmm. And yet we're getting pushback from the very people that should be advocating for men to be more human, not just this quote unquote traditional manhood that we've seen on display for a number of years.
Oh, absolutely, man. It's interesting that you say like more human. It's interesting that we push against that. Like we push against the concept of just being human.
Yeah.
Like, as a human being, like take man, take woman out of it. And just as a human, we were born with emotions. Mm-hmm. And we were born with capacities to like, to walk out those emotions. So if we squander those, we end up with people who are stunning the growth and the value of what we think is being emotional.
Right.
You know, like I was at a conference and we were talking about actually we're talking about restorative justice, and there was a segment where the presenters were giving stats of kids today. They were showing that 63% of females in schools get harassed sexually.
63%.
That's as far as who's actually reporting.
Yeah.
Right. Then it went to like the I forget statistic, but it went to the statistic of like kids in kindergarten, starting in kindergarten, and then up through 12th grade. Like there was this crazy stat. I'm sorry, I'm not catching it in my head. There's this crazy stat of how many, what percentage of black kids have a record by the time like they graduate.
Like a police record?
Like a police record.
Yeah.
Right? And I mean, it just went down a line, like it was insane. But, for me, I got kids, and I'm thinking through as a black man, like, oh my gosh, like, can one of my daughters be part of that 63%?
Or has she
or
already?
Have they? You know what I mean? Like, is my son part of that ridiculous statistic?
Yeah.
About black kids between the ages of like kindergarten and 12th grade, like having a record, like, and I'm sorry, and it starts hitting home, and I just raised my hand because they were asking, okay, what do you think about that? So I shared my thoughts on that, and I was like, I'm not even thinking about the kids that I talk to. I'm thinking about my own kids.
Right.
Like, this hits home,
right?
And I went off into like why restorative justice should be practiced more and more. And I get passionate, and whenever I'm talking about something I really care about, I got teary eyed, and I had a pause. I felt like I had a pause, and then I digressed and was like, ended my take on stuff. Well, afterwards, a woman came up to me that I met at this conference, and she was like, what were you saying? And we sat in conversation, and I started talking, and I told her, I was like, there's moments when I was talking where I had to pause because I felt like I was going to burst into tears, because like I was feeling for those kids who are in the statistics, but I was feeling even more for my own kids. Like, this is sad that this is the world we live in, where our kids can possibly be like bullied or sexually harassed or mistreated by the law. And she was like, "Why didn't you cry?" And I had to think about that for a second. I was like, "Well, I didn't want to look like, honestly, I didn't want to look like the soft one in a room." And she was like, "Why would it be soft that you as a man were crying? That would show how strong you are." And like, it took me back. Like, she was right. Like, even subconsciously, it wasn't like I was just thinking that in the moment, like, out loud, I want to show you how strong of a man I am. But because we're trained,
right?
We've been trained like to not show vulnerability. And even in that moment, I was showing vulnerability, but I wasn't letting it go.
You could have gone further.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
like, you know what I mean? I kept throwing my walls up, my defenses up, because I didn't want people to see clearly through and be transparent. And like, I thanked her for that. I was like, "Thank you for telling me that, because that makes me aware." And it goes back to my part about being human. We're human. Like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be vulnerable. It's okay to be happy. Like that's one thing I noticed. Like, the shows about men in our media is like we have this stoic face. Like, nothing bothers us. Like, we walk through fire. Like, and we like plunge our hand in snow and pull out a cold beer like it's no problem. Like me, I'd be like, "Oh no, what the heck?" Like, what I mean? I'd be tripping out. Like, "Oh, why am I reaching into the frosting snow for a bear? A bear?" Like, but we should be able to show those emotions. But even deep down inside, there are, for me personally, I'm just speaking, it might be other people listening, there are moments where that stereotypical man wants to come out.
Yeah.
And that's not being human. I think we are stopping ourselves from being human.
Yeah.
When we allow like our psychological makeup to say, "No, I won't allow you to do this, because this is not what a man is."
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah, I do. Yeah. And you and I would both agree. Tell me if I'm wrong here, but we've had enough conversations where you and I would both agree that there is male and there is female. Yeah. And we were created this way, and we are special in this way.
Yeah.
But we're both human.
Yes, we are.
And there are elements of similarity that both genders carry.
Yes.
By nature, by creation. And to emphasize those elements over humanity is really what's, at least in part, what's gotten us to where we are today.
In trouble.
Yeah.
But it's not the end.
It's not.
Like, what I like about this ad is that, and here's Gillette. Here is where a point where I think you've nailed it. It was the most encouraging rebuke to be better that I've heard in a long time, since like even the Me Too movement started, or even before. Like, to be better as men.
Yeah.
Like it was like almost like it was like one of those like, like Gladiator or Avengers like moment where a guy stands up or a person stands up in the midst of like all the craziness and ruckus and death and destruction, and gives this like heroic like talk, like, I know you're beaten, I know you're down,
yeah,
but we can do this. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? It was one of those
goosebumps.
Yeah, it's like you like,
I'm ready to take the hill with you.
Even though I'm missing my right leg, I can take this hill. I can do this. It was, it revealed the truth in a very, very real but yet genuine way. And in a genuine way, it said is not the end.
Yeah.
There is a future and we can make it better. Let's go do it.
Yeah.
Like normally the thing is like, you suck as a man. And I'm going to let you know every day of your life that you suck.
Right.
And just do better.
Yeah.
Like what? Where does that take us?
Right,
That doesn't take us any. I have never been able to look at my kids and be like, you're a failure. You failed.
It doesn't work.
Now do better. Like, I don't care like who you are. I don't see that being encouraging and constructive.
No.
Right? But this one was constructive. It wasn't destructive. It was constructive and just pointing out like, yeah, we messed up. And we've been messing up for a long time. It's not the end. Today is a new day. Tomorrow is even a newer day. Like, let's just take left foot, right foot, and keep walking to do things better.
It was like an invitation.
Yeah,
right?
total
Join us.
invitation. I'll join that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, even watching the ad, I was like, I got excited. Then I almost had a moment again where, I'm about to bawl because when they showed a kid, I'm like, my son,
yeah,
you will do better because I will teach you to do better.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And look, man, I'm not patting myself on the back, but like, I am confident in being a good dad. Like, I think I'm good as a dad. But that commercial made me want to even be a better dad.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Like, if you're going to like come up to someone and confront something, like do it in a way that makes them go, I'm going to follow you to be better. Mm-hmm. And that's what this ad did.
Yeah. How ironic that we're getting emotional and all stirred up by a Gillette ad, right? Maybe a Hallmark or some other company that's got
James
a history.
Cancer,
right.
Institute for Kids. Like, those ones, I always cry.
Yeah, yeah. But if they stay true to this, then let's go. Let's be part of, and we're not going to get it 100% right. We're not, but we can do better. So let's go and do better together. Yeah. And if that's Gillette's position, then I welcome them into this battle, and let's make a difference.
Mm-hmm. Let's see what happens afterwards, though.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe that's a follow-up episode. Down the road we can track this. Yeah, we can track this. Well, listeners, before we close out this conversation, let me just remind you that we are inviting those of you that are iTunes users or Apple users to go out to our page on iTunes and just give us a rating. Let us know what you think, even if you want to leave us a review and some verbal comments or some written comments, that would be great. Sure. We just would appreciate you guys giving us some feedback that others could see in that way. And of course, if you have questions, comments, or anything, you can hit us up at feedback@thenextmanup.com always. So
always, please, thank you.
All right, my friend. Good to be with you again.
You too, Mark. You take care, friend.
Until next time, adios. Hey, listeners, thanks for journeying with us on this Next Man Up podcast. We would love to hear from you. Maybe you have a question or an idea, perhaps a topic for us to consider. If that's you and you want to reach out to us, you can get us at feedback@thenextmanup.com. That's feedback@thenextmanup.com. Again, we'd love to hear from you. Until next time, we'll see you later.